Dr. Paul Lawrence joining us now, Undersecretary of State, Veterans Affairs. Dr. Lawrence, good to have you with us, sir.
Good morning, John. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for caring about veterans.
Tell us what's going on with the Veterans Administration. Give us an update on some of the things you're working on, sir.
Sure. Given your listenership, one of the things we're really excited about, we started on January 1st, is processing claims and adjudicating claims for our Blue Water Navy Vietnam veterans. Mm-hmm. These are Vietnam veterans who served in the Navy, primarily off the shore of Vietnam 12 miles, which is why it's called the Blue Water, who may have conditions related to Agent Orange exposure. So if they do now, we began getting them benefits on January 1st. So given who listens to you, if they think they could have been exposed, or perhaps the wife of a surviving member, or even the kids, because it took place so long ago, ask them to go to va.gov and in the search bar write Blue Water Navy and see how they might apply for benefits. So that's one of the big things we're working on.
And anybody that's listening to me now that might fit in that category, how do they take advantage of that?
Sure. When they do the search I described at va.gov and Blue Water Navy in the search bar, it brings you to a page which lists the condition. It lists how to file a claim or who might assist you. Some of the veteran service organizations like VFW and Disabled American Veterans, they help veterans apply for claims at no cost.
Dr. Lawrence, tell me some of the improvements that have been made at the Veterans Administration. You know, before Trump came in, I had somebody on every single week talking about the problems in the Veterans Administration. We got several laws passed by putting pressure on Congress. Remember, there was like the VA Accountability Act, and we got rid of two VA secretaries in a row that couldn't get the job done. Not going to say they were incompetent; they just couldn't get the job done. And we had all the problems with the VA. The one in Arizona, there were problems with the one that was in, I think, Hampton or somewhere in on the peninsula in Virginia. Overall, what's the progress that's been made in the Trump administration on the VA, in the VA as a whole?
Sure, you got it exactly right, John. The president made veterans the centerpiece of his administration, and tremendous progress has been made. The Accountability Act you refer to is an invaluable tool. We have the largest budget ever because of the care for veterans, more for mental health. Wait times, which was the problem in Phoenix, are as good or better than the private sector, and this was measured by the the AMA's journal. And then the quality of care, as measured by Dartmouth, is as good or better than the private sector. So wait times are way down and access to care is way up. And from where I live in the Veterans Benefits Administration, we're processing veterans' claims faster and doing more of them than before. So it's a really good story. The Secretary talks about right now us undergoing the largest period of transformation since Omar Bradley ran it, and basically his focus is on customer service to our veterans.
Well, I just remember every week we had a horror story coming out of the Veterans Administration. Of course, that was culminating with the deaths in Arizona and the falsified paperwork, right? Remember that? I mean, it seems like such a long time ago, but I'm telling you, Dr. Lawrence, every week we had somebody on talking about what was going on, trying to bring pressure to bear, and then the president and the vice president, they love to get on stage and say, promises made, promises kept. This, Dr. Lawrence, one of the untold stories, because remember, the president campaigned on this. I mean, he came to Norfolk in his primary campaign. He went on the battleship. He came to Virginia Beach 2 times. He made a centerpiece of his campaign fixing the VA, and it seemed like, Dr. Lawrence, like nobody could fix it. Like it was just this big Leviathan that nobody could ever fix, no matter who went in there. It stayed the same. How have you guys been able to get this massive ship turned around?
Well, I guess I'm a little biased because I am part of the leadership team, but I would say the follow-through in his promise was a really good team, primarily all of whom are veterans at a senior level, to deliver on the promise. And the president holds us all accountable. So it's been the laws you've described. The budget gives us the tools to solve the problems, but there's been some other laws that he helped pass behind the scenes that made things better. We fixed the appeals process. We've enhanced the GI Bill. There's been 2 laws recently related to what's called the Mission Act, which gave access to private care for veterans who maybe the wait times were too long, you needed specialties, or quite frankly, you couldn't commute to a hospital 4 years away. and now we're implementing an electronic health record. So it's really the combination of his focus, the money he's enabled us to have, as well as the tools underneath it that allow us to deal with things like you pointed out, getting rid of people who do not want to serve veterans. So that's what's been going on.
What are your top priorities now, Dr. Lawrence?
Well, right now we're all thinking about suicide, veteran suicide. So one of the things we're doing, we started this in December, is a program called Solid Start, which is we call veterans when they've just transitioned from the military 3 times in the first year to let them know they should be connected with the VA. It's sort of the beginning of a relationship they'll have their whole life once they're no longer in the service. And we've gotten very, very positive feedback, not so much about requests for mental health, but understanding benefits, understanding care, learning how to access what they earn, quite frankly. And we know that this connectivity is so important, right? 2/3 of the folks who do go that horrible route are not connected with VA. So this is, again, stemming from a presidential executive order to connect veterans to their VA. That's something we're working on right now pretty intensely.
And how do you get the message out? And we're with Dr. Paul Lawrence. He's Undersecretary of State for the Veterans Benefits Administration. Dr. Lawrence, how do you get out the message?
Well, this one is we will call the veterans when they transition. So when they see something on their cell phone that says Department of VA, don't think it's a scam call. Please pick it up and answer it. Our response rate was relatively low, but now it's about 50% of the veterans. And we'll follow this up with an email confirming any resources or help we promise to provide. So I'd ask them to be a little more sympathetic in that first year to a call from us.
Tell us about, specifically, Dr. Lawrence, your background and your role, how you got to the VA.
Sure. I'm an Army veteran. I served in the Army in an ROTC capacity. I grew up in a military family. I was a private sector business person until, the administration changed, and I thought it was a real opportunity to be involved in folks who were serious about solving the problems veterans had faced. The president's focus was very important. The tools were very important. Didn't want to show up and realize people had to be changed and not able to do that. So the Accountability Act you described was very, very important to me. And to be an undersecretary, you actually have to go through an interview process where they select you and then present some candidates to the White House who they chose, and they chose me, and I went through the traditional confirmation process of the Senate. But my focus is on really getting veterans their benefits. That's my first priority. We know they want speed and certainty when they want to access the benefits they've earned, and that's why we're focused on how fast can we get them, how good a job can we do, and can we get the word out about veterans knowing there are these benefits they've earned so they feel comfortable coming in and accessing them.
Wow, I tell you what a difference it's been in 4 years. And, we used to throw our hands up because I remember we went through during the Obama administration, and again, this is not to diss Obama, just the facts. When I was on the air, we went through, I think, at least 2 veteran secretaries, Shashevsky or whatever his name was, I forget his name. And then Obama brought on that executive from some big company, and he was supposed to know how to change. He was like the agent of change. He was a complete disaster. Forget his name. Right? I can't even remember these guys' names. I just remember getting on the air every week and blasting them because they didn't do anything. And then Trump comes in, gets a senior team together like yourself and our secretary and others that are on your team. And in a 3-year period, you've had complete metamorphosis, and you revitalized the VA. And you've done it without, a lot of people wanted the private option. I mean, that's not really ever gotten passed. So you've done it the old-fashioned way. You've taken what you had and made it work, right?
That's right. That's right. I mean, I think you would probably articulate this well, which is the president's a businessman. Businessmen make plans. Politicians make promises. President Trump was pretty clear about what he wanted us to do, and that's what we're focused on doing. So you're exactly right. I'm not surprised given the focus and the plans we had in place.
Dr. Lawrence, I want to thank you for your time, and thanks for being with us and all you've done. And this is an amazing story that really needs to get out there, not only during the campaign, but to veterans, and just another example of promises made and promises kept and results. I mean, this is the administration of results. No matter where you turn, they're getting results. And we were told you couldn't get any in the government. Right? It's starting to happen. Dr. Lawrence, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me on, John. Again, thanks for caring about veterans.